Hello everyone, and welcome to our TechSoup webinar, Microsoft Office 2016 for Mac. Thanks so much for joining us today. Before we get started, I want to make sure everyone is comfortable using ReadyTalk, the webinar platform we're using today. So you can use the chat box in the lower left-hand side of your screen. You can use this tool to ask questions of the presenters or to share any comments that you have at any time. We'll track all those questions and try to answer as many as we have time for. You are muted, so you don't need to worry about us hearing any background noise. And at any time, just let us know if you have technical issues such as audio problems or being able to view the slides. We can help with that. If you do lose your connection, just return to the email message with the link that was emailed to you to just rejoin. And if you were registered more than 2 hours ago, the reminder email has the PowerPoint slide deck attached to it as a link. You can look in the right-hand column. Do keep in mind that a lot of today's webinar will be a live shared demo, so that won't be in the slides, but it will be in the recording to view later. If you're hearing an echo, you may be logged in twice, so you'll just need to close one of the ReadyTalk windows. And you can also use the 800 number to contact ReadyTalk support for other technical issues. We are recording this session, and you will be able to view and listen to that archived version at a later time. The archive will be available on the TechSoup webinar website that's listed there on your screen, along with our other past webinar presentations. And you will get the full recording, slides, and any links that we shared today also in a follow-up email from me by tomorrow. If you tweet, you can see our hashtags there. You can use TechSoup or TechUp, or if you'd like to contact us directly, you can tweet us at TechSoup. My name is Stephanie Girding, and I'll be the moderator for today's event. And I'm really pleased to introduce our other presenters as well. We have Ben here from TechSoup, the Associate Corporate Relationship Manager. And we also have Dave from Microsoft, who's a Senior Content Developer. And we are very happy to have him with us today. He'll be showing us all of the Office products, and he works to create videos and content for users. We also have a lot of people helping assist with chat today and answering your questions, so this is a great opportunity for you all to get anything answered that you might want. So we have Allie from TechSoup, and we also have Kevin Lowe, and we have also some assistants from Microsoft. So we have Radhika and John also as subject specialists. So definitely as you come along, you can ask anything of them and we'll get those questions answered. So now I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what we'll be going over today. So I'll start with a quick introduction to TechSoup in case you're new to us, and then Ben will be sharing with us how you can get those Office donations through TechSoup and what those options are that are available. And then Dave will take us through that live tour and show us all the different features of 2016 for Mac. We will share some additional resources with you and then make sure that we leave time for questions and answers. So anything that you don't get answered as we go along, we'll definitely leave time for that as well. So I am here in Seattle, Washington, and we also have people from TechSoup joining us from the San Francisco headquarters. And Microsoft, I don't know if all of you are from Seattle or not. You can share in the chat, but also share in the chat where are you all from. We'd love to hear. Oh my goodness, so we have someone joining us from London and Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Cleveland, oh, Hawaii. There's a lot of places I think I'd like to go visit. Alaska, I think we've got it covered. DC, Oakland, good, some locals, San Francisco, Maryland, North Carolina. I think we've about got the country covered. Wonderful. Good. Well, I know the last time I looked we had over 200 people registered. So thank you all so much for joining us. And as you continue to share those, I will share a little bit about TechSoup. So TechSoup is a nonprofit, just like many of you, and we're working towards the day when every nonprofit, library, and social benefit organization on the planet has the technology, knowledge, and resources they need to operate at their full potential. And we do have 62 partner NGOs that we work with. And our reach is definitely broad, as you can see from this map. And our impact, of course, together, working together, is the most important thing that we can do. And as you can see on the screen, a lot of different corporate partners that we use, that we connect with, and there are many different ways that we provide knowledge, including webinars like this and newsletters connecting us together. So we do have a couple of polls to start with first. So on your screen you should see the poll question. You can just answer that. Which devices other than a Mac do you or your staff use? Okay, I can see you clicking away there. All right. Not too surprisingly, we have a lot of Apple users, it looks like. Go ahead and skip to the results there for you. Looks like iPhone is leading. We've also got iPads, Windows PCs. Quite a few Android phone users too. All right, thank you. Just a couple more polls. Which version of Office for Mac are you currently using at your organization? Do you have 2016, 2011, 2008, or you don't use it yet? We probably should have done an option of don't know as well. You can answer that by clicking in the box on your screen. That'll collect the responses. And someone just shared that they just ordered 2016 from TechSoup. Great news. Thank you. All right. I'm going to close the poll here in a second. See our results here. So overwhelmingly 2011. So a lot of people are going to be seeing what is in the near future for them. All right, and one last poll. What's your favorite Office app? I'm excited to see this one. Excel, OneNote, Outlook, PowerPoint, or Word? See who your favorite app is. Okay, and just remember to select the radio button on your screen and Excel. Wow, how about that? Oh, Excel and then Word and then Outlook. Oh, my poor PowerPoint's coming in last. I think that might have been my favorite. Well, thank you all for sharing. Getting kind of close with Excel and Word here. All right, well thank you all for sharing about that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ben so that he can tell you more about the TechSoup product donations program.
Wonderful, thank you. Hello everyone, welcome. And very excited to have all of you on today. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what all you can get through TechSoup for your nonprofit from Microsoft. So starting off, today we're going to be talking about Office specifically and the Office suite, but Microsoft is our most generous donor and offers a very wide range of software that you can get through TechSoup, including things like server software. So if you're not familiar with all of the options after the webinar, definitely go check out our website and take a look. And if you're a nonprofit who is not registered with us, make sure you get registered with us so you can get access to all the wonderful donations that we have available. So in addition to Office for Mac, which we're going to be talking about today, Windows users can get Office Standard and Office Professional Plus. And also the individual Office applications are available. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. The Office for Mac suite that we're going to talk about today has 5 apps in it: Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, Word, and OneNote. I was noticing on the poll that there wasn't a lot of votes for OneNote. If you're not familiar with that product, definitely go check it out. It's very exciting, and we love it here at TechSoup. One thing that you might notice, Skype for Business is included in the Windows versions, Standard and Professional Plus. It is not automatically included in Office for Mac, but we do offer the Link for Mac app separately, and that would be under the individual applications that we have available on TechSoup. So you do need to request that particular app outside of the Office donation if you want access to that. In addition to that, Office 365 is available to nonprofits as a donation through Microsoft, and we'll go into more detail on that later. That donation is a little bit different in that you get that donation directly from Microsoft, and what TechSoup does to support that is we validate the eligibility of your nonprofit. And that's very straightforward for nonprofits that are registered with us because we have your information. Otherwise, there is a process for people who would like to get access to Office 365 who are not registered with us yet. We also want to remind you that all the donations that you get through TechSoup from Microsoft come with software assurance benefits. And if you're not familiar with software assurance, there's a very wide range of benefits available. And definitely make sure to check out some of the language we have on the website to explain those. 2 of the biggest ones that are available are upgrades to new versions of software within 2 years. So if you requested Office 2011 for Mac and it was within the last 2 years, you would be able to upgrade to the new version at no cost using your software assurance benefits through the VLSC. Another aspect that's available is e-learning. There's a very wide range of e-learning courses that you can access through the VLSC to learn more about your products and how to use them more effectively. And there's a lot more, so definitely go and learn more about that. We have some articles and things on our website. One thing I wanted to just mention as we move forward is you're not able to click on your links that are on the screen, but you will be able to click on them in the PowerPoint deck once we send it out. And those of you who registered more than 2 hours in advance, you already have this access. Moving on. So here's an example of a blog post that we do to introduce new products. And that also, these are all available on our website and have links to the product pages themselves in them. And wanted to point out for Mac, in addition to Office 2016 for Mac products being available, you can also get Outlook 2016 for Mac and PowerPoint 2016 for Mac. Both of those individual apps upgraded along with Office for Mac to 2016 versions. Here's an example of the product pages, landing pages, to see all the different suites that are available. And it also has our administrative fees. And with Microsoft products, there are you can get up to 50 licenses per title group. And an example of a title group would be Microsoft Office. So you can do a mixture of any of the things on this page, up to 50. And for example, down here we have Office for Mac. If you wanted to view the details on Office for Mac, you would click View, View Details. And then the price per license is or the administrative fee per license is $29. Here's an example of our individual applications. For example, down here we have the link for Mac, which was mentioned earlier that you would need to request separately in addition to a Office for Mac 2016 license if you wanted to get that particular application. And apologies for my voice over here. Now we want to talk a little bit about Office 365 and the options that you have available there. Again, this is a donation directly from Microsoft, so it does not go through TechSoup, but we do the validation on the back end for this product. So when you click the Get It Now link, it's going to take you to a page where you input your information to go ahead and start that validation process. If you're not familiar with Office 365, it's a cloud-based product, and I will chat out a link to a past webinar as soon as I finish talking that will introduce you to the product and tell you a little bit more about it. Office 365 does work in concert with the on-premise Office products. So that's something important to remember as we move on and learn a little bit more about Office 365. It's free for nonprofits if you get either the Business Essentials or the E1 SKU, and we'll look at those in a little bit more detail in a minute. And then there's an additional SKUs that you pay a monthly fee for that give you a little bit greater access and features. So here's an example. So the Office 365 E1 for nonprofit SKU is the one that's highlighted here. The other one that is available at no cost is Office 365 Nonprofit Business Essentials. Then at a discount is the Office 365 Nonprofit Business Premium and Office 365 Nonprofit E3. So if you look at the one that's highlighted, Office 365 Nonprofit E1, you can see all of the different features that are available. Those are highlighted in green. The ones in gray are not available, but some of them are available in the upgrade version. One of them that I'm just going to point to down here is Office Desktop Applications. So if you get for example, the Office 365 Nonprofit E3, that gives you the option to download the desktop applications directly to your machine. This is an alternative to, for example, requesting the Office Suite donation directly from TechSoup and then having that work in concert with the free Office 365 for Nonprofit E1 SKU. So you can get an idea of the different options that you have. One other thing that you want to note is Office 365 is unlimited number of seats or users that you can have. Go on to the next page and talk a little bit more about that. So here you see a breakdown of the different features that are available with each. And here you have Nonprofit Business Essentials. Here you have E1. Those are the two donated SKUs. And then the ones that have the fees associated with them, Office 365 Nonprofit Business Premium and E3. And as you go down, you can see this is what we were just talking about. The full installed Office applications, they come directly with the cloud product if you go for either the Business Premium or the E3. But then your other option would be to request the E1 and then get the on-premise donation from TechSoup. And with that, I will hand it back over to Stephanie, and she will introduce Dave.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ben. That was great. Okay, so now we will turn it over to Dave at Microsoft, who is the senior content developer there. So he works on Office products to create videos and content for users. So we'll turn it over to you and your live demo now, Dave. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Stephanie and Ben. I really appreciate it. I'm quite frankly honored to be here and give this demo because I just really have a great passion for the nonprofit community. You guys are where the rubber meets the road. You get resources and aid to people in need, and I think that's really awesome. I know that it can sometimes be chaotic in a nonprofit. I do some work on the weekends for one. So hopefully today what we can show you is how you can minimize some chaos and make yourselves more productive with Office 2016 for Mac. I know it's been a long overdue upgrade from 2011, and we're really excited to show you the new features today. Like Ben said, the Office 2016 for Mac suite includes 5 applications: your favorite word processor, your favorite spreadsheet program, your favorite slide presentation program, of course Outlook, your favorite mail program, and then also OneNote. I noticed not a lot of users of OneNote, but I'm going to try to give you a demo there and hopefully make you a convert. You know, a lot of people still take notes on the in Word and other places, but OneNote's a really great benefit and a great app to use. Link is not pictured here because Link is a separate download, but it's also worth having. I'm going to do a brief demo on that. And let's talk about also how it's just not on the Mac. It looks great on the Mac, I got to say. This is a great upgrade. But when you have a Microsoft account, or if you have an Office 365 account, and you log in with that in each of the apps on your different devices, you can see and use your content on those devices. This just shows Apple-friendly devices, but there were a lot of interesting results from that poll question a second ago, and you can use these apps on almost any device now. Your Android phone, your iPhone, your Android tablet, your iPad, you name it, these apps are probably on your device, especially of course PCs, PC tablets, etc. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about nuts and bolts real quick. There are some system requirements to this, and I know a lot of people might not have fabulously up-to-date systems, but we should go over these just to be safe. So our system requirements are listed here. I think the one that's really the most important one, the others are pretty obvious, but the one that's most important is that last bullet. You need Mac OS X version 10.1 or 10.10. There are other system requirements, especially if you do the subscription choice. So there's a list to the system requirements in the information for this webinar. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll just dive in now, and I'll share my screen. Might take a little second to render on your side, so bear with us. And Stephanie, why don't you give me a cue when you see my desktop?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, great. I have lots of screenshots on my desktop here from those survey results. You can ignore those. So how do you get these apps? How do you install them? Well, like Ben said, there's a TechSoup library where you can download the suite or the apps. If you do choose to have the subscription, and I'm just going to pretend like I have a subscription, you go to portal.office.com. And then what you do is you log on with the email address that you created when you signed up for Office 365. So my fictitious name today is Tony Krignan, and I work at a nonprofit called Contoso. I'm going to go ahead and sign in to my subscription. And then here are all the online services that are available to me. Today we're mostly going to be talking about the applications that you install on your computer, but there are in-browser services that you can use as part of your nonprofit. You've got all sorts of things. You've got mail, calendar. Okay, you can manage your contacts or your employee directory. All sorts of great stuff up here. You've also got the online versions of the apps just in case you want to log in from some other computer and use them in the web browser. The one thing though I want to show you is OneDrive. Now this might be sort of seem like a one-off mention, but OneDrive is where your nonprofit can store all of your documents in the cloud so that you can access these from your different devices or from different locations. Okay? This is only a cloud service for you guys. This isn't for people outside your company unless you choose to share outside your company. Keep in mind this is just basically Microsoft's answer to Google Docs or Dropbox, that kind of thing. You install the suite down here with this hyperlink. Okay? When you click that, you'll see a Manage Install page where you can see other machines you may have already installed on. But this is the magic button right down here. Click Install, and you get the 5 apps on your Mac. And then if you do want to use a communication solution for IM and telephone and conferencing, your subscription may include this as well. So go ahead and install Skype for Business, or what's also known as Link. Okay? So that's how you install. So let's talk about how you launch the apps. Sometimes this can be confusing because in the old version of Mac, Office 2011, you had a nice, neat little row of icons down here that let you launch them easily. Well, you don't have that in this version, so I'm going to show you how to set that up. In your Finder, just go ahead and go to Applications, and you'll see, I've got this listed by alphabetical order here. You'll see all of your Microsoft stuff or your Office stuff under M. Here they are here. I've got Excel, I've got OneNote, Outlook, PowerPoint, and Word. And I'm just going to drag those down to that dock so that I can use them from there and launch them from the dock. All right. And the other thing you can do is you can, if you like the Launchpad, of course you can always use the Launchpad, which is a nice Macintosh experience with a full screen view of all the applications installed. You could also drag your icons from there down to the dock. So if you're a Launchpad user, keep that in mind. And now I'm going to jump into showing you how to, or I'm going to show you what's new across all of these apps. What's new across Excel, OneNote, Outlook, PowerPoint, and Word. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and launch Word here. And open a blank new document. I'll go full screen so you guys have a simple view of what's going on here. So first and foremost, we have an improved look and feel in this version of Office for Mac. 2011 was great, and they had a ribbon, which is what this is here. This is the ribbon, which is the row of tabs across your top of your screen. And 2011 had that, and it was great, but gosh, compared to this, 2011 for me is a little cluttered. There's an extra toolbar here and there, some extra buttons hanging around. This ribbon is so much more scannable and more intuitive. Let me just, and this is new across, this look and feel for the ribbon is new across all the apps. And of course you can always hide and collapse it here, collapse and reveal it from this little arrow on the right. But in general, you've got a Home and Insert tab for most of the applications. They almost all have a Home and Insert. And then from that point on, they kind of vary across applications. You have Design, and in this case, this is a tab for setting things across an entire document. Layout, which is also another cross-document tab, although there is some alignment and indenting here. There's also a whole tab for your table of contents, your references, your citations, if you're in school, your bibliography, and then mailings, etc., etc. So basically, the upshot of this is Home and Insert are common across a lot of them, except for a few. And then the tabs sort of vary from that point on. So the ribbon, those tabs, much cleaner and much easier to see where everything is. Now keep in mind the menus are still there. What do I mean by that? Well, because we're on a Mac, we still have these menus up here at the top. If I hover my cursor, I get those revealed to me. And this is crucial because, well, first of all, every Macintosh app has this menu bar. I don't think there is an app that doesn't have it. But this is where you do things like set your preferences, all right, quit. So pretty crucial stuff. You also have your file menu. Most of these commands on this menu bar are repeated in the ribbon. So this is sort of your visual place to select things, and of course your menu bar repeats all those if you're used to the menus. This isn't new necessarily, but it's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes people get a little irked at Microsoft, let's be honest. We redesign things and we move things to other tabs. I'm sorry, I apologize on behalf of our company. We're really trying to make everything easier to find, but sometimes that doesn't always work out for everyone. So a really great resource is Help Search. And what you can do is you can search for something. Let's say I can't remember where spelling is because I can't see it on the Home tab. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to Help, and I'm going to search for spelling. And there you go. I've got my menu items revealed to me. And if I hover over these, it will point to where that command is. Not necessarily new for the Macintosh, but when you get a new product version, this is sort of a nice way to sort of bridge the little gaps that you might know where you might not know where things are. So keep that in mind. And of course we have our help topics, of course, if you need any help. Now one other resource that is in the links for this webinar is the Quick Start Guides, and those are downloadable PDFs that are free, and you can print those out, hand them out to your staff, and it'll just give you a nice quick reference guide of where things are, big pictures, lots of arrows to show you how to access certain things. So check those out if you are a big print fan. And I think that's it for the ribbon. We're going to go ahead and jump on over to opening this file here. So the other thing I want to show you is Office is really cloud connected. So like I showed you earlier, here's that OneDrive location we saw in the browser just a little moment ago. Okay? And if we want to put something up here, we can. I'm going to go to On My Mac, and I'm going to open up this Northwind and Contoso document. And that is on my desktop. It's just opening up there. You basically have 5 pages to this document, and it's just a simple document that shows how 2 nonprofits are collaborating with each other in their efforts. But if I want this up on that cloud location, I go up to the trusty File menu. I'll go to Save As, and I'll go ahead to Online Locations, and I can save this up to our cloud up here on OneDrive. So I'll go ahead and I'll name this something different. I'll name this A Great Way to Work Together. Good long file name there. So believe it or not, I saved that up to the cloud, and if you want to, you can even see where that guy is by going to File Properties. You see this really long location. That's on the web. That's in the cloud. That is at an HTTP location. So let's just do something fun real quick. Let's go back to the browser and check out that OneDrive location we saw earlier. I'll go ahead and log in, and I'll wait for your screens to catch up a little bit. All right. So we'll go to the OneDrive, and in the cloud here, we will hopefully see, if Dave did everything right, a great way to work together. So here's our new document. We've even got a little sparkly new icon next to it. And people on other computers could open this up if I share it with them. And it'll open in a web browser and something called Word Online. And people could read this document, scroll through it. They can, of course, edit it as well, which is really cool. They could edit it here in the browser, or they could edit it in Word on their particular device. So that's one of the key benefits of working with the cloud. Being able to just send someone a link to this file, which I'll show you how to do in a second, and people can just work and collaborate together no matter which device they're on. So let's do something fun. Let's go back here and show you more. By the way, another big pillar, I should say, or a big benefit of 2016 for the Mac is it's just basically built for teamwork. So for example, I can go up here, click Share, and I got all sorts of cool sharing options. Invite people means bring people into this document on the cloud. Let them edit it. Let them edit it at the same time as me even. Both have it open. We can both save and see each other's changes. Okay, copy link, pretty self-explanatory. You saw earlier when I showed you the path under File Properties. You could copy this link and send it to someone in a chat window, for example. Or you've got the old traditional send attachment, either as a doc or a PDF. And of course, when you choose that, you go ahead and you launch into Outlook. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. I'm not a big fan, I got to say, of sending attachments. I am definitely committed to the cloud. I want like one version of a file out there. Okay, and I want it centrally located. I don't want a bunch of different copies. So I'm going to invite people to this document on the cloud. I'm going to go ahead and invite Katie. She's also a worker here at the Contoso nonprofit. I'm going to ask her, can you help me out with this? I could just say don't let her edit, just let her view. But I'm going to say she can edit, and then I'm going to share it out with her. She'll receive a link, an email, and then she could open it up on any device she wants. Again, Mac, PC, iPad, Android, and she can work with it however she wants to with that one. So we told you how it's built for teamwork. It's also Office 2016 built for Mac. And what do I mean by that? Well, in the past, when you tried to use Mac gestures on your trackpad, like for example, if you wanted to zoom in, we wouldn't really respond to you if that happened. So now if you spread your fingers apart, you will zoom in on a document. And this is pretty helpful, especially on MacBooks. When you don't have a lot of room, you don't have a lot of screen space because you want to hone in on something. And then pinching zooms out. Now, we're also built for the Mac in that we totally support Retina display of graphics. So for example, I'm going to zoom in here to the last page. And I'm going to show you this image here. So if your agency, maybe you work with an ad agency, or maybe there's a staffer on your, or within your organization or a volunteer that has a DSLR camera and they give you a real snappy, high DPI image, it'll look good. Now, we also support something that I use a lot, which is full screen view. Before, when you click this little full screen button in 2011, you could, but then you couldn't easily get out of it. So now you can go to full screen and you can come out of full screen much more easily than before. And just a tip for you there, Control-Command-F, like full screen, is a keyboard shortcut for that. I use that all the time. So we've talked about how it's cloud connected and built for teamwork and built for the Mac. Let's jump into what's new in these applications. I saw in the poll that there are a lot of people who like Excel. So let's bring up Excel. Lots of really great things in Excel. I'm going to go to the recent documents here. And I'm going to open up this donations spreadsheet that is actually on the cloud. You see it up there. I could go to locations on my drive if I wanted to, but I'm going to open it up here from the cloud. I'm going to do Control Command F just to make this guy the full screen, and I'm going to go to this donation tab. So let's talk about a really nice, quick, eye-pleasing feature here, recommended charts. So I'm going to select my data, go to Insert, and then click Recommended Charts. And there you go. You've got some automatically generated charts that you can choose from. In 2011, we didn't have this. So this is a nice shortcut for you. I'm going to choose this stacked chart here, which I really like. That looks great. And what else do we have? We have pivot table slicers, something that the PC has had for a long time and is pretty invaluable on Mac. So I'm going to go to select this data here. I'm going to make a pivot table. Go to Insert, Pivot Table. And then I'm going to make sure my range is properly selected. And I'll go ahead and put that on a new sheet. Bear with me. This might seem a little convoluted if you don't use pivot tables a lot, but I happen to love them because it really summarizes a bunch of seemingly random data and really summarizes it for you. Like for example, now we know each of these staff persons' cumulative donation amounts. And what I'm getting at is that you can insert slicers into this pivot table. Slicers are just filters. So let's say you wanted to just see what Devolio did in donations or during a certain month. So I'm going to click inside here and choose Insert Slicer. I'm going to go ahead and choose all of these. And we get these cool little slicer panels. Hope I'm not going too fast. Stephanie, you shout out if I'm going too fast at all.
No, you're doing great. Thanks.
Okay. And of course, we can always do demos for any requests that you have at the end. Be happy to do that. So let's say we just want to see what Devolio did in donation amounts. There he is. Okay, 79,000. These are the two donation amounts he got, and it was during March and September. Let's say we just only want to see his March donations. And there we go. We only have his March donations. Or maybe we want to see all these. I'm going to Command click these, select them all. And then I want to see, oh sorry, I want to see, I'll clear these. Clear this filter. There we go. I want to see what everyone did during January. It looks like Cox and Smith had these donations during January. So a great way to filter your data using slicers. And then I don't know if it sounded like there were a lot of sort of lickety-split Excel fans on the call. So I wanted to just tell you that Excel on the Mac now has something called the Analysis Tool Pack and Solver Tool Pack. So if you were ever wanting those to be on the Mac, they are now there. You go to Tools, Add-ins, you enable them, and then they'll show up here on your Data tab. And one of the ones that people like to use a lot are the histogram. So I'm going to choose the histogram feature here. And histograms basically take a lot of data, like frequency data, if you've got a lot of readings from tests, or if you've got a lot of, in this case, donations, and you want to see how they're distributed across different intervals, or what histograms called bins. You can do that. So for example, my input range, I want to find out, okay, I want to see what the distribution is like across all these donations. And then my interval range, or bins, are here. And I can choose, I'll put an output range here, and I'll just say, oh, I just want to put it here. And then if I go ahead and click OK, it will generate this histogram for me. It'll show me the frequency of things. So for example, anything $10,000 or less will show up in this bin, which there's nothing. But for anything under 20,000, we have 5 donations. So et cetera, et cetera. It shows you the frequency of those donations across those different amounts. So kind of a nice geeky feature there in Excel. Stephanie, I'm just going to break real quick and just pause and see how we're doing. Are there trends to the chat window? Do they want to see certain things?
Yeah, we've had quite a few questions asked and already answered, so we're doing pretty good, I think.
Okay. If you need to direct me in another direction, you just shout out and let me know. I'm going to skip on over to another application here. I'm going to switch on over to PowerPoint. So I'll go ahead and rest my cursor down here and choose PowerPoint. And I'll launch that guy up. And I'm going to open something I was working on before called Prosware Pitch. I know a lot of people didn't really say much about PowerPoint, so I'm going to be pretty brief with PowerPoint. But I do have to say PowerPoint looks really good on the Mac. They all do, but PowerPoint, it's so presentational. It can be full screen. It really does sing on the Mac. So one of the things that you'll see here is that that PowerPoint now has threaded comments. So over here on the right, because I have some comments that were put in by people, I have some threaded comments. So Katie has asked, or said, this slide is kind of boring. Can we make it better? Tony says, sure, I can do that. So they're having a conversation about this document. It's not happening outside of the document, like an IM or email where it might get lost, but it's right here. So I'll go ahead and reply to Tony and say, yes, I can spice things up by adding a theme. And I'll put a little smiley face. There we go. So lots of great conversations can happen here in the pane. But let's go ahead and show off the Design tab, because PowerPoint really consolidated a lot of stuff in this nice Design tab. So first I'm going to set a theme. Yeah.
Dave, someone did ask where those comments are coming through. Is that through OneDrive or?
Oh, these comments are stored, I believe, in the file, but Radhika can probably comment in the chat window if she knows better. But I'm pretty sure these are stored in the PowerPoint file itself. And Radhika, you set me straight if that's not right.
He says they're stored in the file. Great.
Okay, great. So Design tab, this is where you can set an overarching theme. And you can refine it even further by setting a variant on the theme. I'm going to set this guy here. And you could even go further and create your custom color set. So this is really powerful, really great way to customize your PowerPoint presentation according to your nonprofit's color scheme if you have one. Okay, I'm going to show you just real quickly the presenter view. It's just more improved. I believe it was in 2011, but it's just a lot better in this release. So make sure to check that guy out. Lots more bells and whistles, and a lot of fun. So check that guy out. That helps you present. That will only be seen on your screen. I'll go ahead and pull that up again. So I didn't really give that justice. This will be seen on your screen so you can see the next slide that you're going to over here in the upper right. You could see your notes here if you had them for a slide. You could navigate to another slide by clicking it here. So the people that are looking at the projection won't see this. So this is your own private view as a presenter. I'm going to skip over PowerPoint because there wasn't a lot else. There wasn't a lot of people that said it was their favorite. I'm going to move through. Bring me back to PowerPoint afterwards if you guys want a special demo there. Let's see. Let's talk about what's new in Word. We were there a second ago. Let's go back.
Just check in on time. We've got about 10 minutes left, and we want to have time if there's any other questions. But it seems like they're getting.
Oh, we do. Okay, let me zip through them.
Too, so.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
So about Link or OneNote.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, why don't I go, you've seen Word, same sort of situation on the Design tab. They also have threaded comments. You also have a cool smart lookup feature, so I'm just going to quickly show you that, and then I'm going to jump into Outlook and OneNote. So for example, smart lookup, you can control click, smart lookup, and that'll bring you up a research pane so you can see what that term is all about. But yeah, let's jump over to Outlook and OneNote. So I'm going to close this guy, and I'm going to go over to Outlook. Outlook looks a lot better too in this release. So I'm going to make that full screen here. This is that email we saw earlier where I shared with Katie. But basically, I'm going to move this over here. So Outlook, I'm going to show you how the navigation is a lot cleaner. It's not all scrunched in the corner. You've got your main areas down here, calendar, people, etc. In Mail, you've got a one-line preview, which is nice. You also have improvements to your conversation view, so you can bounce into conversation view, check out the threads there. And if someone were to change the subject line, in 2011 that didn't really work very well, but in this version it'll keep it threaded. I'm going to jump over into Calendar. You've got a weather panel up here. You can always set your location accordingly. I kind of like to check out Las Vegas. I'm a big Vegas fan, so I like to see what's going on in Vegas because this cloudy Saturday can be a little depressing. But here we are in the calendar, and what's great about this is you can do two calendars. So right now this is my work calendar. I have some meetings sort of spread out across the week here. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up all my calendars and see my personal calendar that I've added here from my Outlook.com account, the free account I get from Microsoft. And I can see these things side by side, and I can also, which I think side by side is the one that's new in 2016, but basically you can see your appointments side by side, and of course you can also overlay them. So right now I'm seeing the bolder one is my work calendar, and this lighter one is my personal calendar, and they're overlaid. So I can watch for conflicts. It looks like I have a fundraising conference here and a Pick Up Kids thing here. I can go ahead and propose a new time. This is another new feature in Outlook. So I can control click this, propose new time, and say this doesn't work for me. I'm going to say I'm going to decline and propose a new time. I'm going to say, can we start this after I pick up the kids? And then send that to the person who sent it to me. I'm going to go ahead and send that proposal, which is right here. Click Send. So propose new time is something that also was really requested for Outlook on the Macintosh. Keep in mind in Outlook, like before, you can add two accounts under Preferences. So right now I have my nonprofit account and I have my personal account, and that shows up in my Mail pane here. I've got my inbox for work and I've got my inbox for personal. So when you work or volunteer for a nonprofit, sometimes you're straddling two worlds, and you can do that with Outlook 2016 for the Mac. Let's talk about OneNote, because I really think it's a valuable app to use. We have some other improvements in Outlook. I might be able to go over those in a second. So I'm going to quit Outlook and launch OneNote here. OneNote is basically a note-taking application. So here I have Tony's notebook for work, and he has tabs for each sort of area of his work. And inside each tab he has pages where you can take notes. Okay? And you take notes just like you type in other applications. You can add bullets, etc. But one of the cool things about OneNote is you can add tags. So for example, let's say we need to recruit cleanup staff for this event, or we need to hire caterers, or we need to hire event security staff. And you can select those and tag them as stuff to do, so you get little check boxes. And when you're done, you check them off. You can also tag things like, okay, this is something to, that's important here, or I need to remember this one. You could even say, oh, okay, here's a contact. So these little symbols sort of jump out at you and let you easily identify your notes. And if you want to create a new notebook, which I recommend for collaboration at a nonprofit, you just go to File and choose New Notebook. You go ahead and you choose where you want it to be. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to name it the Gala event. And I'm going to go ahead and create it. It's going to create that up on the cloud for me, and all my other constituents or volunteers or staff members can now access it on their device. And I'll go ahead and maybe I'll make a tab for, I'll double click here and make a tab for meeting notes, and maybe I'll make a tab for schedule, and another tab for budget. And then I can just name these pages inside these tabs with dates. So I might say, January 1st. Or I could even just do Command-Shift-D, which will put in a date there. And that'll name that page with that date. And then I can take notes just like I showed you before. We need to hire caterers. We also need to find volunteers. We need to recruit people for cleanup. Of course, add those tags, and then everyone can see, oh, what needs to be done? Well, we've already hired the caterers, but we still need to find volunteers and recruit people for cleanup. So that's one note. Let's stop there, see if there's any remaining demos we want to do or any questions that are burning that we need to answer.
Let's see here. They've been coming and going, but we are almost at the top of the hour.
Okay.
And you have made quite a few people very pleased, though.
Anything that's sort of remaining that people want to see?
I think you've covered everything really well. Thank you. You want to click on the Stop Sharing, and it should
okay, sure.
back the PowerPoint. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dave. That was a really wonderful demo being able to see in there. You can see that we've had lots of questions asked and answered. So we thank you all for being involved in this. We do have a lot of additional resources for you, and this will be emailed out to you, the PowerPoint, and also any links that were shared today will also be included in that as well. As we're wrapping up today, we'd love to hear what you all learned today. So as adult learners, it always helps us to kind of remind ourselves of what we learned. So in the chat, if you could share something that you learned today or something that you want to make sure you're going to try out afterwards, or if you'd also like to answer how you're going to share any of this. And we do have some other upcoming webinars and events. Next week we've got Introducing QuickBooks Online, and you can register for those webinars all for free. And another thank you to ReadyTalk for their support today, and thank you so much to our presenters, to Dave and Ben, and thank you for everyone for helping out in chat. A lot of very personalized answers there, so thank you for that. Later today or tomorrow you'll receive an email with a link to the archived recording of this event and all of the resources mentioned and the PowerPoint. So thanks again everyone for sharing your time with us. Have a wonderful afternoon.